Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I'm really excited to see what the runes have to say in store for this week ahead. I think it's going to be really fun. But what I will talk about, we have some very important transits that just happened and will be influencing us for the foreseeable future. That being like the next couple of weeks and 2 months, depending on your chart and things like that. But I did want to say that today we have Mars entering into Pisces. So Mars is a very powerful planet. It's the planet of the challenge. I like to think of Mars as the energy that asks us how we want to live, how we want to experience ourselves, right? How we want to inform ourselves of our own boundaries, protect our boundaries, how we want to take action in the world. And Mars being in Pisces is not always the most comfortable space for that kind of energy, but it does influence us and allows us to have an opportunity to access different parts of our mental, emotional, and spiritual boundaries, different aspects of our own creative process that finds its way into the world around us, right? So we may be feeling a little bit more spacey, might have moments of indecision. There may be feelings of walking around and not knowing where you're going, that kind of energy. But what I will say is that it does give us an opportunity to tap into the internal guidances that are affordable or available to us. Affordable in the sense of like it affords us the ability to access those energies, right? So for example, like our intuition, our sense, our sixth sense, like our emotions, the feelings that we have around us, right? It would be the equivalent of saying, I don't know what I really want to do today, but I have a feeling of what I would like to do, and then going with that feeling, right? Or you're walking down the street and you have a crossroad in front of you. Your intuition tells you, hey, go right instead of going left. And a part of Mars in Pisces is saying, okay, I'll go right. Right? So I think it's a really interesting transit, especially with Jupiter and Neptune being in Pisces already and that conjunction having happened earlier this week. So there's a lot of watery energy, which is fun. I appreciate the watery energy, but a part of me is like, okay guys, I appreciate all the feelings that we're doing. I appreciate all of the diving in and feeling our intuition and our emotions, but it can be a little overwhelming. I know for myself, I've been having moments where I'm like, spacing out, and then suddenly, bam, get hit with all of this information spiritually through my intuition. And I'm like, well, okay, that was a whiplash moment. So that's how I've been experiencing it. But we'll see what the runes have to say about the energies that we'll be experiencing this week. What I will say is that just before I started filming, I started untying the rune bag without even thinking about it. And a part of me feels that many of us will be in the process of untying old cords, of releasing old paradigms, narratives, or structures that no longer service us. And I find that it will be, in some ways, a subconscious process, right? There'll be moments of, I don't know why I stopped doing the thing that I used to do before. Or I don't know why I suddenly no longer have the taste for that Frappuccino. You know what I mean? Like it's little things like that, because I found myself untying the knot, untying the cord subconsciously without even thinking about it. So it feels like there's a lot of energy already in place that talks about or leans itself towards releasing old processes or old paradigms, like I had mentioned earlier, whereby we will allow ourselves to be unbound to the past, unbound to the things that may have prevented us from moving forward into our very brilliant future. This is what I heard. So let's see what the runes have to say. So, I had a very interesting message come through. This is just for some of you. Like I said, this is a very general reading for those of you who are watching on the channel. Thank you. Thank you for joining. But it is a general reading, so whoever this message is for, you take it as it resonates. If it doesn't, let it go into the wind. But as I was shuffling the runes, I heard very strongly, don't lose hope. I feel like many, or some of you, I won't say many of us, but there are those of you who are watching who are waiting for news back or to hear back about something, whether that news is about a financial aspect or if that news is about business related things or perhaps family related things. It could even be messages that you heard from spirit about 2 weeks ago or earlier, right? Maybe you heard a specific message for yourself about a month ago and you still haven't seen it made manifest in the world around you. And so I heard very loudly, don't lose hope, right? That whatever it is that you are trying to manifest is happening, it is manifesting, it is coalescing into this world of form, this world of matter. And so, even though it's my personal belief that everything's matter, but that's a whole nother story. That's a whole little TED talk on the side, which I will probably do at some point. But I did hear that message very loudly, so please don't lose hope. The manifested energy that you're working towards is in the process of manifesting. And I especially see with Jupiter's transit, the sidereal transit, which another little TED talk, the difference between the tropical and sidereal system. But essentially, Jupiter's full energy is now in Pisces, and Mars entering into Pisces really manifests this energy of opening the door to abundance. It's kind of like the Nine of Cups. That's what I just saw in my mind's eye, the Nine of Cups. A lot of satisfaction, fulfillment. So don't lose hope. Whatever it is that you're manifesting is still manifesting. There are just some cords that you still have to untie. Whether they're cords to previous partners, previous relationships, perhaps it's a cord of the way that you used to look at yourself, mentally, physically, emotionally, or spiritually. However it is, right? There are so many ways that cords can manifest themselves in our lives, and they're not just like physical cords, and they're not just cords of obligation, right? They can manifest in various forms across the human spectrum. So whatever that cord is, you're still untying it. And in that process, it's going to allow more energy to come through so that whatever it is that you're working to manifest will come. So, and I see that very clearly here because we have Rido here. This is interesting. Okay. Okay. We'll talk about this. So in the center, I'm going to start with the center first because my eye was drawn to Rido first. So I'll just show that to you guys. So Rido is where my eye was drawn to first. And that to me is indicative of great and sudden change. It could be going on vacation, it could be travel. Some of you may be traveling next week or within the next 2 weeks. There could be great shifts in your personal environment. So perhaps you met someone, met a new partner, or perhaps are engaged in a new business venture, whatever it may be. Or you may hear news that changes your perspective on something. Rido is the chariot, right? Very fast moving forward energy. So that's what drew my eye first, and I've been hearing that message in the past week of very powerful change for the better. I do hear that it is for the better because not every change is always welcomed, but this feels like very welcome change. But right now we're in the Haglas energy. So today into tomorrow, so Thursday into Friday, we're in Haglas energy. And Haglas is the storm, right? It's things that we cannot quite control around us, and learning to go within so that the storm rages outside of us, but the interior of our emotional experience is peaceful, and we can find softness and grace in our own emotional life. And Haglas always invites us to turn inward, especially with Isa that is hanging out on top of Haglas. Haglas and Isa together, Isa being the rune of ice, of solidifying, of slowing down, resting. alongside Haglas, the storm, it really is indicative to me of like, perhaps it's time to stay home. Like some of us may physically feel drawn to stay home, to be like in our spaces for the next 2 or 3 days. And it may be really beneficial to do that, but from a spiritual perspective, it feels like returning home within, finding a centered energy. Also stillness and quietness. So turning off the phone, turning off Instagram, turning off YouTube, even though I'm doing this YouTube video, right? Just turning off all of the distractions and giving yourself an opportunity to listen to the inner voice within. And that's going to give you, how do I say this? That's going to give you light about how to manifest and move this Ewas energy into the upright position. Because right now there's so much fulfillment and happiness that's waiting to be born. And it feels to me that all it requires is settling into yourself, listening to that deeper intuition and the intuitive guidance that you have within you, and then following it. And then this energy will become more fulfilled, because this manifested energy is coming through. Ewas feels like that manifestation, whatever it is that you're trying to make real in your life. And this is just after the storm. So we'll see some intense changes in the coming weekend. I, of course, cannot predict what those changes will be because everyone is so different and we all have different experiences in our lives. But I will say that you will start to see very interesting changes that are coming through for you, especially with Rido going into next week, into the energies of next week, feeling very powerful, transformative. Lucrative was another word I heard, which I thought was very interesting. Lucrative and enticing. Very interesting words. So that's the energy that I'm feeling. So that's what I see for the runes ahead for the week. I hope you enjoyed the message. I hope the message resonated with you. If you did like the video, please like and subscribe below. I do really appreciate it, and of course let me know how you guys have been doing in the comments. I love to read the comments and enjoy connecting with you guys, and I want to see if you guys have also been experiencing this Haglas Isa energy, this feeling of slowness, of stillness, of things not quite moving, but having this intuition that something's going to change very quickly. If that's what you're feeling, that's what the runes are talking about. So I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you guys here on the channel next week. And until then, many blessings. Bye, everyone.